Please note that the content of this episode has explicit language and is not suitable for underage listeners. Welcome to Secrets from a Phone Sex Queen, everything you always wanted to know about phone sex and more. I'm CJ. I've touched a little bit on people being lonely out there and calling these types of phone lines. One of the things that over the past several years I find a little uncomfortable is when people say that they love me. I know I briefly mentioned this on a previous podcast, but I wanted to bring this up again. I know it's not me they love, it's the person they're talking to. When you have long conversations, not just phone sex, and they feel they're getting to know you, then the love word gets thrown out there. So here are a couple of examples. One of my callers went on a trip and wanted to bring me something back. I don't normally give out an address, but I have a P.O. box, so I said okay. He sent me a t-shirt that was super sweet. Prior to that, he was telling me how excited he was to be going on this trip, and he had said to me a couple of times how much he really loved me and wished I was going with him. When he came back, we spoke about what a great time he had. He then had an accident and was laid up for a while. When he came back on the phone line and called me, we just had a regular conversation, and at the end of the conversation, he told me he loved me. He really loved me. My response is typically, "You are so sweet." During phone sex, occasionally, someone will say, "I love you," and then they'll tell me that they want me to say it back, and I do, but even then, that's uncomfortable. When you're not having a phone sex conversation and somebody tells you they love you over and over, it kind of hurts me in a sense that they've taken this too far. I typically say that is sweet and leave it at that. I can't help how they feel, and I don't want to navigate that, but it's really challenging to hear it. I have a friend who teases me and says, "You are the phone sex operator with a heart." I hate to say it, but I think it's true. I have another caller who is significantly older, lives across the country, and he calls me every so often. The last time that he called me, he just didn't want to hang up. We didn't have phone sex, he just didn't want to hang up. He told me that he loved me, he wanted to reach through the phone and grab me. I think the commonality here is that they are both alone. They are both lonely, and they talk to me and find that I'm friendly and comforting and, according to my picture, really pretty. I've said this before, that a pretty picture and a nice voice goes a long way where they really feel a deep connection. That is something I try to do so that they can call back, but their connection is clearly different than mine. Don't get me wrong, I'm not heartless by any means. It's not that I don't feel anything, but I don't feel the same thing they do. I oftentimes feel sad or upset for them in their circumstance. I guess it's fortunate that my eye is always on the ball and what my goal and end game is. That is to keep this professional and to make money. But like I've said before, if I can make someone happy, then at the end of the day, that makes me happy. There are times that I feel bad for what I think is being deceitful. I'm not being truthful with them about myself, and I hope on some level they know that. It's not my problem, but it does cross my mind. I do want to say on the flip side of this that I do have people that I feel a connection with, and they stopped calling because it's getting too real for them. And they know it's not real for me. They've expressed that after not calling for quite a while, and then they called back saying, "I'm sorry I didn't call. It was just because," whatever reason they say. I really try to stop them and tell them they do not owe me an explanation as to why they stopped calling. They can stop calling for so many reasons, and to be quite honest, I don't need to know. It's their business. They don't need to feel bad if they stop. Emotions are really tricky and sensitive, and I try to sound caring and in some cases loving, but to say love like I mean it, that I'm not comfortable doing, but I do it nonetheless in some circumstances. I just had a new person write me like an instant message. He said he was staying with friends and couldn't call, but he wanted to communicate, so we did. He felt a quick connection and wanted me to take a sex compatibility quiz, which I did. Why not? I get paid for messages. He sent me a couple of pictures and wanted to talk to me offline. Well, that is a no-no. So I said, "Call me when you can." He wanted to know if there was a chance of meeting him. I said, "Not so fast." So the next day he wrote me and said he knew that the chances of us meeting was slim, and he wanted to try anyway. He tipped me $100 and said he was new in town. We live in the same state, not too far from each other, and that he wanted to meet me even though he knew it would possibly not happen. He figured it out as I gave him my standard, "You never know," and has since disappeared all within a week. It takes all kinds, and so I continue on. I want to continue today with what I call the phone call request and role play setup. If you listen to my first podcast, I mentioned the Wonder Woman fantasy and the whole long drawn out setup. I want to tell you about some other phone call setups that I've had, which I find interesting. People have really good imaginations. A lot of times the setups are either emailed to me or sent to me in a different way, and it's all prior to us talking. The Wonder Woman guy was on the phone with me and talking to me about the setup, but most of the rest of these were either emailed to me or messaged to me. I don't think I spoke to any of these people for one reason or another. I do believe I responded to them, but probably due to the timing issues, we didn't talk. So here was one that was really different, and it was from a woman, and she wrote to me and said, "Me and my boyfriend share an account on here for some kinky fun. Tonight, we bought a hotel room, and the official plan was for him to watch me get fucked in the shower while he talks to you on the phone. But I have a better idea. He's already been instructed to call you when he arrives in the room. I'm stalling him for now, but we'll be ready when you are. Me and our bull Brad will already be in the shower. He is to ask you as planned for the safe code so that he can get his chastity key to get into the bathroom to watch us. But you won't give it up so easily. I want you to force him to do the following steps in order to earn his key. Number 1, strip completely naked and get on his knees outside the bathroom door so he can hear me make fun of his tiny cock. Number 2, say, please let me watch Brad fuck my girlfriend over and over as many times as you desire while laughing at him. Number 3, say my little dick is smaller than the other men's over and over while you tell him teasingly how you love big cocks. Number 4, say I'm not a man, Brad is a real man with a real cock while you tell him how you'd love to fuck Brad's cock in front of him also and how big I told you he was. Number 5, say I deserve to have all the girls laugh at me while you tell him how you and your girlfriends would laugh at him and humiliate him just for fun. Get as mean as you want, make tiny boy cry. Finally, once you're done torturing him, you can give him the code. It's 4282. After that, while he's watching, it's up to you to torture him as you please. He already knows he must follow your orders, but he is not allowed to interfere with our sex. Watch. Sound fun? So I got this and I have to decide if it sounds fun to me or if it's something I want to ignore. It really depends on how I'm feeling on any given night. Some days this might sound interesting and I would do it. On this particular night, I did respond, but they didn't write me back. It really is amazing to me how people have these ideas in their head and they spend so much time writing them down in hopes that somebody is up for it. I received shorter requests such as the following. I'd love to play out a fantasy of going to a strip club for my bachelor party and being seduced into cheating by a stripper. If that's something you'd be interested in, let me know. You perverted MILF whore on the way home from the game, and all you can think of is sucking and fucking all of our young cum-filled dicks all night while your husband sleeps upstairs. We deserve a cum-hungry MILF fuck doll for playing so well. I want someone to role play with that will come on to me and seduce me, then worship my cock with her voice, lips, tongue, mouth, throat, tits, pussy, and ass, to beg for my thick, hard cock and come all over, in, and on her. I want you to show up to my house unannounced tonight because you're feeling super horny and your husband doesn't satisfy you like I can when I make you my beautiful little coke slut. At a friend's house playing cards, but took a break to look at your pics, hiding in his bathroom, giggle, giggle. My cock is so fucking hard I could come fantasizing with doing wild things to your body. I'll take a pic of my cock, and if you'll send me another of your dripping wet pussy, want my cock inside your body. I'm just about home, my cock pressing against my leg and pants while I'm driving and trying to text you. I need to pull over and pull my cock out from my pants. It's so swollen from fantasizing with your pics on this trip. I need to stroke it sitting here in the dark with your pussy pics. Send me another one of your naked pussy, and I'll send one of me here, throbbing hard and wanting to fuck you tonight. Hello, goddess. Your little eager, obedient panty boy stroke puppet wants to hear you tell me how to stroke for you and have you edge me again and again, but not let me come until you decide I've begged enough and made you giggle at how desperate I am for you. I want to be your good boy so badly. You're my girlfriend's younger sister and you come home drunk and you ask to hide in my room so no one knows. And I blackmail you into stripping naked and coming into bed to stroke, suck, and titty fuck my cock until you get me so absolutely hard I explode and you're screaming and begging for me to explode so you can swallow and lick all my delicious sticky load. I can talk now, but quietly. Let me introduce myself. I'm 38, married, but incredibly bored, unsatisfied with sex life with my wife. I'm horny all day, every day. I masturbate a few times a day. I have a few kinks, a huge kink actually, for sexy women in high heels. I like it rough. Not super rough, just slapping, heels being dug into me as I fuck, light biting and nails dug into me as a woman moans. I love thoughts of fucking hot women with my wife home on a different floor. I want very aggressive women to come on to me and take control of me. I also watch a lot of porn due to boredom of sex with wife, and am starting to find it harder to come, not get aroused, during sex with wife. I think I'm craving more of what I'm seeing in porn and desire to have other women make my cock theirs. Can you please help me right now? Again, I have huge heel problem, kink. I'd like to buy Louboutins and have sexy women wear these heels and have me go down on them and take my cock in all their holes. I also love role playing. I'm ready to call if you think you can come on to me aggressively and indulge all my kinks. I'd go to a party with you and all your friends would be laughing at me and bullying me from the videos you posted, and you wouldn't defend me. You would probably join in and dump a beer all over me and laugh with everyone, and I would cry and everyone would make me put my head in the toilet till I was done. Oh, goddess, I've been away for so long and my blue balls are still unrelieved as my ex-fiancé put me in chastity, and now I'm more insane than ever. I've been trying to avoid my ass worship addiction because it can't extend, but I'm too desperate and gooned. I can't stop. Oh, goddess, I desperately miss worshiping you and dreaming of your body, your whole butt cheeks. It feels like it's been years and my little balls are agonizing instantly over your goddess body. Again, I beg to sniff your butt cheeks. Be my sister who escorts. Maybe I call your service and you show up for me. Fantasizing with your pics again tonight. My face is in your pussy as you are spread on your couch. Your vibrator deep inside you as I lick and suck on your bone-hard erotic clit. I love the taste of your wet cum, feeling your hips thrusting against my lips and your vibrator. You're asking me to put my throbbing cock inside your cunt, moving our vibrator to your clit. Love watching your eyes roll back as I thrust my cock in and out. Your vibrator on your clit starting to come together. I'm on a train going west. Everyone seems to be asleep, but I'm playing and stroking my throbbing cock as I fantasize with pics of your naked body. I could taste your luscious pussy as you lay back on your couch, my lips wrapped around your clit as my tongue darts in and out of your wet, dripping pussy. I can feel your hands on the back of my head pulling me ever harder against your cunt as your hips thrust against my mouth. I'll be fantasizing with each pic I have of you and rubbing my cock throughout this trip, hoping to fuck you again on the phone soon. I'm in Italy, sharing a bottle of wine with you, naked with me in the hills of Sorrento, overlooking the island of Capri. My cock deep inside your wet pussy from behind, my arms around your chest and my fingers playing with your hard nipples as we watch from our hotel balcony as the sun sets, setting us aflame of sexual passion and ecstasy, my cock exploding inside you, too much eroticism to be alone in this city of passion without you. Mistress, I have this fetish. I want to do this. When I call, this is what we say. Mistress, can you hear me loud and clear? Okay, let's imagine there's a black man in front of us, fully naked, and his big black cock is so big. We are kneeling in front of him. Let's look at his black body. Look at his black body. Look at his black arms, his black legs, his black muscles, his black naked body. Today we shout the N-word so loud and worship him, mistress. We should make his black dick so happy and long and hard. The more we shout, the louder we shout, the better we service him. Do you understand, mistress? Now we close our eyes. Let's do this, mistress. Just say the N-word and I will follow. Wait till I say it and you say it. We should listen to our own voices. Can we do this sometimes? We constantly say that word over and over. I want to do this, miss. No, thank you. As we continue on, I love a strong, sensual woman that can pound my lights out in the boxing ring. Would you be willing to work me over with your gloves until my knees buckle? Sometimes I blow in my trunks before the knockout, but I promise to worship your body with my puffy, swollen mouth after I wake up in the canvas. When my mouthpiece flies whap, whap, you will know I'm the boner boxing bag, ready to be your punch whip. I think this is the last one for now. Hey there, from your description and reviews, it sounds like you enjoy the challenge of a creative role play. I'm into spanking and corporal punishment with naughty ladies on the receiving end. This email describes a role play scenario I enjoy. I'm not necessarily looking to do the actual role play with you, but I would enjoy talking about the scenario. I often enjoy doing longer role play calls if the chemistry is right. It's basically a role play in a setting where the justice system uses corporal punishment, caning and paddling as a punishment for crimes. Think of a church-going suburban soccer mom who drives drunk and injures someone in an accident. Instead of going to jail, she is sentenced to be publicly caned. A lot of the role play involves the lead up to the punishment. Let's say she is sentenced on Monday with the caning to be carried out on Friday. What is that week like? Interactions with family, friends, coworkers, etc. In terms of more details, I imagine the canings going like this. The woman reports to the punishment center at the appropriate date and time. She is dressed in formal clothes like you would wear to an office or to a court. She waits in a room alone until an officer knocks on the door and says it's time. She's ordered to place her hands behind her back and is handcuffed. With an officer holding each shoulder, she is led down a hall, into an auditorium, and down the center aisle to a small stage. Once on stage, the cuffs are taken off. An officer reads aloud her offense and the number of cane strokes, lashes she is to receive, and then gives the order to strip for the cane. The woman then strips to her lingerie, bra, panties, and high heels stay on, and she is led to the punishment spot. She bends slightly forward over a paddled waist-high bar, and her wrists are secure to cuffs hanging down from the ceiling. Her ankles are secured with cuffs as well. The order is then given, bare the prisoner's buttocks for the punishment, and a guard comes behind her and lowers her panties. The guard in charge of delivering the caning then selects a rod, steps behind her, and rests it against her bare ass cheeks. With the rod resting there where she can feel it, she is given a chance to make a final statement. At that point, the caning is then carried out. The caning is severe. Each stroke leaves a vivid stripe. All that said, a lot of the role play is exploring the emotions of a woman facing a punishment like this, in the days leading up to it when she and everyone around her knows what is going to happen. We can talk more about ideas and experiences that might inform the role play on the call, but that gives you the overall idea. I happened to have that last call, as a matter of fact, now that I remember, and he wanted to talk about how I would feel being in that center court with all of my family and friends there. Would I take the punishment? Would I stand there in my panties and high heels and my bra? And how would I feel? Would I want the punishment? I think, if I remember correctly, I would say, no, I don't want that punishment, but I didn't have a choice. How do I feel? I feel humiliated. I'm embarrassed. And the call went on and on. So that was an interesting one. I like that one. Of all the other ones that I read to you, I thought that was an interesting one to come up with. So that was just a little taste of what people want to talk about. This week's question. Thank you for sending that one in. Have you ever fallen for a caller? It's an interesting question. So currently there is a caller that has fallen for me, my persona, I feel like I have to distinguish between the two, whether it's me or my persona. He's a nice guy, smart. We have a lot in common. This happens rarely, but it does happen. He has gotten away from calling and wanting phone sex. He lives in the same state, and to be honest, not far away from me. I'm so good at finding out where someone lives before I say where I am, but for some reason, I had my guard down on this one, and so he knows we live a couple hours away from each other. He was asking quite a bit if I was going to be near him, and I would always say no to fend him off, but he seemed a little hopeful and sad because I just kept telling him no. So first and foremost, as I've said before, this is not a dating site. Have I mentioned that? It's not a dating site. As for me, I never forget. They forget it's not a dating site. They forget that they're talking to a phone sex girl and they think they're just talking to a girl. And this guy kept saying, I know it's not a dating site. Well, it's not. What happens with me if I find a man I'm liking is I'm resigned to the fact that I'm not the person they're talking to, of course. You can fall for a person on the phone, but at the end of the day, it's not real. And I know that, and they know it too, but they're always somewhat hopeful. One of the reasons is that I never want to completely shut them down. I want to keep them hopeful. But I also want to be real, and I can tell when they want to stop calling. When I do find I'm liking someone too much, I'm constantly in a reality check mode and I move on. And I just have to remember that I am not her. As much as I'd like to think I'm her in many ways, but not in looks, not in age. So I always have to remember that. And I remember that it will never happen and I move on. A small part of me is sad about that. I'm only human and I feel a little, I feel it too. But again, this is a job. And at the end of the day, there are no real feelings on my part. My feelings are very interesting in that I do care for some of my callers. There's no doubt about that. It happens. I care about what happens to them. I care about their feelings, but I don't care. Well, I shouldn't say I don't care, but how they feel about me is very difficult because I can't meet them and I don't feel the same way. And, it's always hard when one person feels more about the other person, feel a connection. Even if we both feel a connection, I often feel deceitful. And I've said that before in previous podcasts. It's deceitful. I'm not telling the truth. I sound really honest, but at the end of the day, I'm not. And so this is, a repeat, but it's not a dating service. It's like wanting to take the stripper home, right? I always say that it's like taking the stripper home. How likely is that to happen? And how likely is this to happen? So I cannot allow myself to fall for a caller, and I don't. I'm very much reality-based, and I move on. So there is a very long answer to a very not so complicated question. So thank you for listening to Secrets from a Phone Sex Queen, everything you always wanted to know about phone sex and more. Don't forget to please email me your questions and comments at phonesexqueen1, that's the number 1, at gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at phonequeen1 and on Facebook at CJCJ. And like I always say, until next time, stay sexy.